Hi Floss Tube, it's Robin from Lady Robins. You're back! Thank you for coming back. To all of you that have subscribed to my channel, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that, for liking my videos, commenting on my videos, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. It makes me feel great to be a part of this community and to connect with all of you. Even if we're doing it digitally, hopefully we'll all get to meet face to face at some point. But anyway, you're here, we're here together, we're gonna have some fun, we're gonna talk about cross stitch. For those of you that might have stumbled on my channel, we talk about cross stitch. That's what my channel is all about. Stitching, stitching, stitching. So today is Friday. It is the 25th of October. We made it through the week. Woohoo! I'm glad. How about you? I'm looking forward to a weekend off. It's going to be nice to have a little bit of downtime and stitching time. So anyway, yeah, welcome. Today, your video is being brought to you by the number 3, because that's how many whips I worked on this week, and the letter E for Epcot. Our beverage is in the Starbucks Epcot mug. So, it's not a very exciting beverage. It's probably the same thing I've had every single time we've met. I'm having a vanilla latte, and it's 4:30 in the afternoon. It's probably way too late to be having caffeine, but I'm going for it. I don't have anything I have to get up for in the morning, so if I'm awake at 2 o'clock, who cares? We're good. So, all right, let's talk about stitching. Last week I had big plans of working on possibly up to, I think it was 6 or 7 whips. I'm a part of the School of Magical Stitches and Literature, which I tell you about every single week. It didn't happen. I had things that I wanted to concentrate on, so I only worked on 3 whips, which is fine because that way I made a little more progress, and you will see when I say a little progress on one of them, it's so little you can count the number of stitches on 2 hands. I'm having a problem. Maybe you guys can help me out. I'd appreciate some commenting. So let's get right to it. Let's get to the stitching. The first one I want to show you, I've showed you over and over again. Eventually I will get a finish on this guy, but I'm working on Pretty Little Seattle. And almost every time I show this pattern, people reach out to me and ask me where I got it. So let me just tell you, it is on Etsy. The company is Satsuma Street. You can see that right here. And they have a shop on Etsy. So if you look for Satsuma Street, you'll be able to find this pattern. And then you have a choice. You can purchase a digital copy and they'll send you an email. You can download it right away. That's what I did. It was super easy, which I like because I'm finding when I'm stitching, especially a bigger project like this, it's very helpful for me anyway to cross off where I am on the chart, and I like knowing that if at some point I decide to go nuts and stitch it a second time, I can print myself out a clean copy and start again. So for me that works out really great. I don't have to figure out, you know, where's the copy machine in town. I can just print a second copy and get myself going. So here it is again. I am stitching it on white linen. Let's see if I can get that in there for you. Can you see it? So where I concentrated this last week is up here, and I am filling in the snow, filling in the snow-capped mountains, so the Cascade Mountain Range. So that's where I am on that guy, and yeah, I think it's turning out super cute. I am looking forward to finishing up those mountains. Those, it's not that they're so hard to do, it's just that it takes a long time because every row is a different color. So yeah, there is a lot of, you know, skipping rows and then filling in rows. So it takes a little bit longer than I thought it would, but at least that part anyway, because of the changing of colors every row. But it's okay, because I think it really, when I look at it, I'm really happy with how that shows up. So that was the first whip I worked on, and I think I got about 220 stitches, not too much, but excuse me. Yeah, about 220 stitches on that. So slow and steady, right? That's how I'm rolling these days, slow and steady. So yeah, that was the first item that I worked on. And then the other thing, this is where I spent most of my time, is I am working on one of the hands-on design ornaments. So it's for an exchange, so I'm probably not going to show you the whole thing, but you can kind of see what I'm doing. So anyway, yeah, I'm kind of, I'll give you a little peek. So I'm getting there. I don't even know how many stitches I have on that guy, but that's another one where it just takes longer than you think to get all that stuff filled in, the little outline. I am surprised how long that takes. It is definitely, for me, it's not a quick stitch. It is, yeah, again, it's slow and steady, but that's okay. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Don't worry. Nobody's mad over here. Well, it's just, yeah, it's really a slow piece for me. The problem I'm having is stitching on this dark fabric. This dark fabric, it's really hard for me to see the holes. I have tried all sorts of different things to try to speed up my stitching. So I've tried putting a really bright light over the top of the piece, and then, you know, white paper like on my lap or on my table that I kind of, you know, stitch over the top of to try to reflect the holes. That I thought that was working, but I found I had a number of places where I was off, and I had to keep frogging, you know, rip it, going backwards to fix mistakes. Last night, I think I finally kind of hit something that I think is going to make finishing this much quicker. I'm finding that if I put my light behind my piece and shine it through the piece that way, and then I still have the white that I'm looking at. Does that make sense? So, you know, we've got light, we've got your white fabric, and then I'm stitching looking through it this way. That seems to be where my sweet spot is. So I'm hoping that now that I've learned that because there's 3 ornaments on the chart, that the other ones will not be quite as slow to stitch. And then I also have 4 pieces of that navy fabric, and there was, I think, I don't have it. That's in the other room, sorry. I downloaded a free pattern off of Priscilla and Chelsea's blog. They're Stitching with the Housewives. They had a free chart a couple of weeks back called Chicken Joy, and it's adorable. If you guys haven't seen that yet, you should go over and check that out. But anyway, Chicken Joy is also originally stitched on a dark piece of fabric, so I have enough navy blue fabric so I can stitch up Chicken Joy on that. And if you guys want to see some super cute stuff, head to Instagram and click or search hashtag Chicken Joy. There are a couple of people that have changed the animal on that chart. I've seen 2 where people have replaced the little chicken with dogs. Adorable, you guys, it is so cute. I'm thinking, I might have to do that with a dog because it was just really, really cute. And the part of the pattern, it's got a string of lights, and on the original pattern, the chicken has the little string of lights in his beak, and on one of the dogs, the dog has it in his mouth, and then it's wrapped around on his tail. Oh my gosh, it is a total crack up. So Chicken Joy, check that out on Instagram, hashtag Chicken Joy, and I think you'll find it. I absolutely loved it. And I think, again, if I put my light behind my navy blue fabric and look towards the light, I think I'll be able to stitch it faster than this ornament has been stitching for me. So I'm looking forward to working on that probably in December or late November. We'll see. So those are my first two whips. Those are the ones that got the work. Now, you guys, I need advice. Advice, advice, advice. Chime in, would ya? I am working on, I'm looking for my pattern. Like I told you before, I am part of the Stitching Book Club Pride and Prejudice Sal, and the first two parts of the chart have been released. That's all I've done. That is it. You guys, I think that's like 22 stitches. I am having a problem. So, can you see on here how loose this fabric is on my scroll frame? No matter how hard I pull it, you know, I loosen the knobs, and then I, you know, pull it tight, then I, you know, tighten up my knobs, and then it's, you know, it's really taut for a little bit, and then it's all floppy again. And this fabric does not really lend itself very well, I'm finding, to stitching in hand, which is what I usually do. So I think last time I told you I was going to try it on the scroll frame. Not working. So I'm going to probably pull it off the scroll frame, and I do have Q-snaps, and I thought, well, maybe I'll try working it on the Q-snaps. I don't know what to do. You guys, would you comment if you have any idea how to kind of get a good tight clip on that, I guess, for lack of a better word, so I can stitch on it? Because I'm finding, like I said earlier, when I stitch on hand, there's a lot of fabric to manage, and it seems real loosey-goosey, and I'm really stalling out on stitching this thing because the scroll frame isn't working. I'm gonna try the Q-snap, but if you think of something that might work better for me, leave me a comment and let me know. If you're part of this Sal, tell me what you're doing and what's working for you. That's a 36 count linen, and I'm stitching it with one strand of floss over 2 on the linen, so 1 over 2. And yeah, I'm just really, really struggling. I love the pattern. I love, love, love it. And yet, because of all, you know, I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but because of all of that, I'm making 0 progress on it because I am so hung up on how am I going to get this tight. I really feel that it being 1 over 2, it's going to look really goofy at the end if I don't figure out how to stretch that fabric tighter. So help a stitcher out. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're doing. If you're using Q-snaps, let me know. Are those working for you? Because that's the next thing I'm going to try is the Q-snaps. And I don't know if I'll have time this weekend to take it off the scroll frame, so you have plenty of time to comment and give me a little stitch and love and tell me what's working for you, because I've got to finish the ornament because next weekend my friend Lynn and I are heading down to Portland. We're going to the Acorns and Threads Fall Fling for 2.5 days. So yeah, I'd like to stitch on the Stitching Book Club Sal as my weekend project, but I can't concentrate on that because I've got to get my ornament finished for the ornament exchange at the little fall fling. So that's what I'm going to be working on for the next few days, is that. And because of that, I have been once again glued to you guys. Floss Tube, you are the best. I love you. I have been watching Floss Tube on finishing, and I spent almost all day Tuesday before I had to go to work watching Vonna Pfeiffer's channel. She's the Twisted Stitcher, and I watched her finishing school videos. And if you need help figuring out how to finish something, man, I'd suggest those Floss Tubes. I watched the one on ironing, which seems like, well, what's the big deal? You just sit down and iron. But I loved that she talked about the padding that she puts on her ironing board before she actually stitches. She actually showed how she irons on the stitching, making sure that she doesn't crush the floss. So if you need a little help on finishing a piece, go check her out. So after I got done watching the ironing video, then I watched her video on the, ooh, I wrote it down, one second here, a simple flat fold finish. And boy, there was a lot of information. She showed how she measures the border. She tells us how much of a border she likes to leave around the stitching. She shows lacing on the back. She just showed a ton of stuff, and it was super informative, and I am totally looking forward to working on my first flat fold finish. And because what I have is, I've showed you this a million times, but stitchy notes. Look at that beautifully ironed piece, huh? Mm-hmm. And can you see them? Buttons. I got the buttons sewed on this piece. I am thrilled. I am thrilled with how this turned out. I just adore the little buttons. I think they add quite a bit to the piece. So now that it's ironed, I'm going to measure what my finished size will be. I'm going to break out my rotary cutter just like Vonna. I'm gonna cut off the excess linen, which gives me all sorts of heart palpitations to think about actually cutting off the excess. And then, where is it? Where is it? It's on my desk. I went to Joann's and I picked up a spool of heavyweight, what do they call it? Upholstery thread. And that's what Vonna suggests, is the heavyweight upholstery thread. Or I think the other thing they call it might be tapestry thread. But I picked up, if you can see that, why can't I get that lined up? Anyway, it's by Quilts. It's their extra strong thread, and on the end it does say upholstery, and then below that it also says tapestry. So I've got my thread, I've got my ironed piece. I need to see if I can find, puts hers on backer board, which is kind of like, I guess it's kind of like mat board. I'm thinking though of combining. I also watched Cathy Habermann. I learned how to pronounce her last name, Habermann. She likes to put her stitching on kind of like a foam core board, and on top of the foam core she puts what am I trying to say, quilt batting, like a warm and natural quilt batting. So she like does a, what is that, a canned spray adhesive. She puts that on the foam core board, then she puts the warm and natural batting on it, and then she lets that set up, and then she trims off any excess. Then she puts, you know, your stitched piece down on it, and then she also does lacing. So I actually watched with the Cathy Habermann's tutorial. So I've watched I mean, particularly 3 tutorials. So I feel like I can totally handle stitchy notes, and then I'll have it up and in my house all ready for Halloween. So gotta hurry since it's next Thursday. Oh well, we'll get there. And you know what? I might just leave it up until Thanksgiving so I have a little time to enjoy it, because I think 4 days is not enough for all that much work. But anyway, I'm gonna get that. Yeah, I'm gonna try my hand at lacing. We're gonna see how that goes. So that's kind of on my plans side of life. I wanted to show you another Halloween item that I discovered that I had stitched. There's always one thing left in the bottom of the decorating box, right? So I found this cutie patootie. It's a box. It's a little box. And I'm sure this came from Mill Hill, but I found this cute little box with a beaded top, and I remember stitching this. And so it's on perforated paper, which I think this is like the one and only thing I've ever stitched on perforated paper, and it was fun. I remember that. And yeah, so this cute little cat. So I'm assuming this is probably completely out of print and you wouldn't be able to find it, but didn't that turn out great? Turn out really great? So I think this is the last of the discovered Halloween cross stitching. So yeah, I wanted to show that off to you. So there's that. And then I have 2 cross stitch pieces that I did a long time ago. I went to a cross stitch retreat with my girlfriends Lynn and Sumi, and it was actually here on the West Coast where I live, and it was right outside of Hood River, Oregon. And it was, I don't know what, it would have been the early 90s. And the folks that were there were the 2 gals from Bent Creek, and also the Trilogy, I think. And there were patterns that were exclusive to the retreat, and I stitched both of them. So here's one. So it's kind of a band sampler. And, just couldn't be cuter. Look at those trees. I love those trees. And then look at that band in there. There was lots of specialty stitches. I'm kind of, when I look at it, I'm actually surprised, because I always say to myself, yeah, I've never done anything with specialty stitches. I just do cross stitching. And then I look at that and I'm like, hey, I did some specialty stitches. So yeah, so there's that guy. And then the other one that was, I think, exclusive to the retreat also was this cutie patootie little guy. So you've got a heart and a bird and a star, and yeah, So these two hang in my bedroom, and when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, because of the glare, there's probably no way you can see this. But when I look at this, the thread, especially right here where the bird is, it goes woo. It's on a roller coaster. I probably need to pull that out and see if I can straighten that out a bit. But what's really funny though is when you just look at it, you know, when I'm walking by it in the bedroom, I don't think, oh, that's so crooked. But it sure is. But I just love it. I just love it. And then here too, there's specialty stitches in the middle of the heart, and then this little bit right there has specialty stitches. So yeah. At one point, I knew how to do these. It's a learning curve, right? You remember things, you forget things. I'm going to have to relearn. But yeah, it's fun to discover your old stitching and, you know, have kind of a new appreciation for them. So I wanted to show you those. All right, so I have a couple other things that showed up this week that I think probably a lot of you are already familiar with, but Epcot and I are going to show you some things that I got this week. I was one of the lucky people, super lucky. I got one of the Color and Cotton boxes. So here it is. So I got the mini box, and I'm just going to show you what's in it. You've probably seen this already, but I just wanted a chance. I heard. You'll have to tell me if this is true or not in the comments down below. Let me know. I heard that you're not supposed to use anything that you've purchased until you show it on Floss Tube. Is that true? Do I have to show you first before I can use this stuff? That's the rumor I'm hearing, so I don't want to break any rules. So, all right. This box is full of absolutely delicious kind of fall Halloween themed items. I got the mini box, and the very first thing I noticed when I opened my box, this is a needle minder. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? It came in this cute little green bag. So I got this beautiful pumpkin needle minder. The other thing, oh, there's a $5 gift voucher to their website, which I'll be using up quickly. There is a selection. You guys, these are my first silks. I'm so excited. Okay, there are 5 hand-dyed silks, and I'm just trying to line them up here to show them off to you. And okay, so there they are. Can you see? Can you see the gorgeousness here? Look at that. Look at the variegation on that green. Oh, I'm dying, it's so great. And then, you know, a dark pumpkin-y color and a light one. And then a dark purple and a light purple. Oh, yum, 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 yum. Oh, you know what? I think I lied. These are cotton. These are cotton. Sorry, I thought they were silks, but that's okay. I love them. I cannot wait to find something to do with these. Ugh. Yum. So, that was in my box also. Let's see here. Oh, cute little bag full of hand-dyed buttons. Did you know you could hand dye buttons? Huh. I didn't know that. But apparently the smart people at Color and Cotton know that. And oh my gosh, you guys look at those. I cannot wait to find some yummy thing to do with those. Then there is a super cute exclusive chart to the box by Heart in Hand. Look at that. Isn't that the cutie patootie? Love it. So that's came in the box. And then what is really cool is here's a finishing kit. So this is to help you finish off that. Oh, what? I mean, how smart are these people that they figured that out for us? And then this is, oh boy, that shows up super purple, but it's really navy. Maybe if I hold it back, it'll be more navy. So this is the backing fabric for that pattern. And then here is a thread drop with all of the colors for that chart, which is awesome. And then, okay, this is where I started squealing, right? Squealing with joy, because I've never gotten a box. I've never gotten a stitchy box before. This is my very, very first one. I am no longer a stitchy box virgin. The fabric. Oh my gosh, you guys, the fabric. So here is the fabric. I got the 32 count Belfast linen for the ornament, and then you also were able to select a second fabric, and you could tell the folks that put your box together what count fabric you wanted. So I got this beautiful 32 count, it's called Tombstone linen, and I can hardly wait to stitch on these. So cool. You guys, it is absolutely so fun to be on FlossTube, to be a part of the stitching community, to hear about all these fun things. So when I hear about these things becoming available, I will let you know. Because the way I found out about it was I was watching another Floss Tuber and they mentioned it, and so, you know, we just have to help each other out. And you know, it might be your thing, it might not be your thing, but I just love that there's all this information that we're sharing on FlossTube, and you know, we're enabling each other, but we're also, you know, we're sharing the love and we're sharing the joy of cross stitch, and what just, you know, gets me squealing, right? So like my husband, he says, when you get together with stitchy friends, or, you know, any friends, and you guys get all excited about whatever the thing is, he says, you make this sound and it's like dolphins. He says, it's a high-pitched sound that it's even higher than dogs. He said, yeah, it's the dolphin squeal. He says, I just know that you're enjoying whatever it is you're talking about and, you know, looking at because of that sound. And that was the sound I made when I saw these beautiful fabrics. So here's to my first box. I hope that I am able to sign up for future boxes. I know they go quickly, so yeah, if you hear they're available, shoot me an email and let me know. Okay, so that was my first, like I said, that was my first stitching box. And then I went to Joann's the other day, and I was so excited. I found a magazine that I was thinking about buying online, but I found the summer edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. So that was such a find. I just couldn't believe it was sitting there waiting for me. They only had one copy, and so I got my upholstery thread, I got my magazine, and then the other things that I was able to pick up is I got this beautiful, beautiful ribbon, which I think these are gonna be so fun for finishing up Halloween and October and, you know, maybe even November things that are kind of, you know, pumpkin and fall related. But what was really amazing is you paid for one and you got 3 free. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. What a bargain. What an absolute bargain. So that was my purchases at Joann's. And then last time I was telling you how much appreciation I am developing for samplers. So I think I might have mentioned before, I work at the library, and so being your classic library person, what did I do? I went to work, pulled up the catalog, put in cross-stitch sampler, and lo and behold, they didn't have much, but they had this book, cross-stitch antique style samplers. This is an older book. This was printed in 2005, but I wanted to do a really quick flip through on this book with you because there was some really, really beautiful things in here that I thought you guys might appreciate. So one of the things that I'm really enjoying right now are the red samplers. I think these are really interesting. I love the idea that they're in just one color. It would be things that would stitch up pretty quick. So yeah, I really liked that red sampler. And I don't know if you can see it, but right in the middle there is an anchor. Isn't that cool? I just think that's so cute. So there's that. The other one that I really liked is this guy. They just call it a house sampler. And the pattern for all of these things is actually in the book. But what I thought was really super fun is they show you in here, so you can see that, but the grass under the little house is just great big, huge, long satin stitches. And I thought, neat. I really liked that. So again, there was that. Let's see here. Then there's a chapter on alphabet samplers. So I liked the kind of the variegated, almost rainbow colors on that one. I thought that was super pretty. And then they had a section on, they call them map samplers. Map samplers? I've never heard of such a thing. Look at this. Can you see that? That's a sampler, and this is England. And then look at that round one. Oh my gosh. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, and they said in the book here that the map samplers were commonly stitched in educational establishments and teaching geography and what else did they say? Geography, spelling, and diligence. Hey, I probably could use a little more diligence in my life. I probably need to stitch a map sampler. Okay, and then there is an entire chapter on red samplers. So You can see that. And then this one on the other page. So, yum. And I love this one. I turned it into a pillow. Cool, right? Isn't that super cool? And then the last section that I thought was so fun is they have a section on band samplers. And then I totally dig this one down here. Oops, gotta figure out which way the camera is. And then that one, although they call it strawberries and cream, I would have to change that because that looks orange to me. So, but on the band sampler one, they had a black work sampler. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So I think I'm gonna have to be hitting eBay or Goodwill Books and see if I can find a copy of this, because there were so many things in here that caught my eye and made me want to give my hand at trying a couple of samplers. So anyway, cool book, older book. Like I said, it's 2005. It's called Cross Stitch Antique Styles Samplers, and it's by Jane Greenoff, Greenoff. So, yeah, cool book. All right, couple of last things I just wanted to tell you about. I have I have 3 Floss Tubers that I discovered this week that you might enjoy. The first one I discovered is the Joy-Filled Stitcher. Joy-Filled Stitcher. Her name is Annie, and her channel is delightful. So if you need a new Floss Tuber, watch Annie. Also, the other one that I discovered is Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. And at first I'm like, why is YouTube recommending this? Because I'm not really into quilting. Not that I don't appreciate it. I do. I've made one quilt in my entire life. That will be the only quilt I make. If you think cross stitch takes forever, try making a quilt. It's not for me. All right. Anyway, that's Olivia, and she has amazing cross stitch on her channel. So check out Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. She is delightful. And then the last one that I discovered is Crossed by Floss, and her name is Lisa, and she lives in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm hoping to get together with her at a meetup at some point. So that would be super fun. Speaking of meetups, for those that are in the Seattle area, we're having our second Stitchy meetup at the Renton Highlands Library again, and it will be on Saturday, November 10th, and it's from 1 to 5. So if you're around and you need stitchy friends, come stitch with us. Hard for me to say, apparently. But yeah, come stitch with us. We'd love to meet you in person. And yeah, so I want to thank you all for subscribing, for sticking with me. Somehow this turned into a super long video. I apologize. I usually try to keep them around 30 minutes, and apparently I got going. If you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I'd appreciate you subscribing, clicking that like button, letting me know if you're liking what I'm doing. Definitely shoot me a comment so we can start a conversation. I will put some show notes up here shortly, and it will include my email address. So if you need to reach out to me, I will email you back. I will tell you, I am not the greatest at email. I don't check it daily. I check it probably once every 3 or 4 days. It's just the way it goes. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just not, it's like email has fallen off my radar. Everything is so text driven these days. Are you finding the same thing? It's just like, oh well, I'll get there when I get there. But Yeah, I eventually will get to the email. So again, thank you for stopping by. I hope you have an awesome weekend. I hope you get some time to stitch, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.